A warm welcome to everybody joining us. This is the first session of webinar series that is called The Impact of AI. This session will be an introduction to artificial intelligence, and it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Dr. Elizabeth Milovidov, who is an expert in digital safety and responsible technology. And she also has extensive experience in the intersection of artificial intelligence and child safety. She has advised governments, think tanks, and NGOs all around the globe on these issues and is here. Thank you very much to share her insights and in a way that's very accessible and easy for us to understand. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, and it's over to you.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. It's just so exciting to see all these different people from different places. This is just really, really cool. Hello, Maureen. Hello, Noella. I see you. It's just really great that you're here. If you have any questions, please just pop through and ask because this whole topic and everything with internet and technology, I know sometimes it can seem a little scary, a little overwhelming, but we're just going to walk you through some of the basics. And so sometimes it might seem a little basic, but that's okay because everybody is at different levels. And let me also give you a secret. I don't know all the answers. I know, right? Because this is like an ever-changing topic. And so that's why it is so exciting to hear any challenges that you have, because usually I handle this issue from what parents and caregivers are thinking. How can we protect children and young people from AI manipulation, bias, and things like that? But right now, I'm going to just pull things back and start at the very beginning, just to see where we all are with some definitions, some simple concepts. So if you are ready with me, let's do this. So we're really going to be talking just about some of the basics, right? And so just a little bit of the history, some of the types, and we will have a bit of a quiz, a little poll to see what you know and what you don't know. And again, please don't worry, you don't have to know everything. You can just put things in the chat. Evine will let me know if things are coming up, because I think that is something that is really going to surprise you, is that even though we're talking about artificial intelligence as if this is something new and that it's happening right now, we've been using it for a while and you just don't realize it. But I'll talk about that in just a second. So here we go. What is it? When we first start saying artificial intelligence, right? This whole idea, it's bigger than what you think, right? It is this whole field of study. And the whole idea is that it's trying to create systems, platforms, things that typically require human intelligence, right? So, things where we have people thinking. This is not the case now. We are really trying to drive innovation in technology, and we're trying to create machines that are actually doing this kind of human intelligence and thinking. So artificial intelligence, as we all call it, AI, I'm sure you've already heard that, it specifically refers to using computer systems, okay, to perform tasks. That means to actually do things that would usually require humans to do it. And so at its core, at the absolute base of what we're talking about, AI, it involves creating algorithms. And I'm sure you've probably heard or seen in the media about algorithms and especially like on things like social media and how algorithms can take you down these different places. So algorithms are just kind of training modules, and they're just kind of like saying, what did you like? What did you like? What did you like? And just trying to show you again and again more of the same things. So the AI is going to be creating algorithms and models that can actually analyze data, that can really sit there and sift through this data to identify patterns, to figure out things. Again, that example that I just gave you. So if we were sitting there talking about Netflix, and we were talking about, the fact that I like to watch The Bridgertons or perhaps other romantic, cute shows, right? Algorithms are going to analyze this data. It's going to identify some of these patterns, and then it's going to make decisions based on that analysis. So then it's going to provide suggestions based on that data, which is much easier, of course, than me sitting there saying, I like this, I like that, or having a customer service person from Netflix call me up and say, Elizabeth, what movies do you like? What would you like to see more of? Now we have AI that can do these things for us. So, there we go. So let's just go into some definitions and some concepts, right? Just to keep things really, I want to say, simple and as clear as possible. So as we were talking about artificial intelligence, we've already defined it as this sort of capability of a machine to imitate, to pretend to be human. And I know that sounds kind of frightening because we're all thinking about Terminator and movies with robots and things like that, but that's not exactly what's going on here. This type of machine, it includes learning and reasoning and problem solving. I mean, these are the things that are absolutely amazing. When you start talking about how can a machine learn? How can it do more the next time? How can a machine actually reason? And this is why, again, artificial intelligence, I mean, it's exactly what the name implies. It is intelligence that is artificial. It is intelligence that is not human, right? So as we're talking about being able to reason, being able to solve a problem, being able to perceive something and say, is it this or is it that? It's also language understanding. So, what is this AI? What is this machine understanding? What are the nuances in the speech, in the words that it is picking up? And so all of these concepts are what are hugely important to understanding this potential that AI can have. As you can see, you can just imagine the fabulous uses that we can all have from artificial intelligence. And you've probably understood that I am someone who, even though I really am very much in the child online protection space, and I really am always looking out for parents and caregivers, I truly, truly believe that technology is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity if used responsibly, if used ethically. And so that's why we need this type of education to understand, right? Sometimes people will say something like a knife is a tool. It can be used to cause harm. It can also be used as a tool in a kitchen to create wonderful things. It can be used in whittling, in sculpture. So all of these types of things, it just depends on the opportunity and the responsible use of that tool. Same thing with artificial intelligence. So let's just talk briefly, really briefly, about the history, because really this could go on. We can do a whole session on the history of AI. But I just want you to realize again that it's not something that just popped up maybe 2 years ago when everyone got very excited about ChatGPT, because I think that's when most people started saying, oh my gosh, AI, what's going on? And we've had AI since the mid 20th century, right? Which is kind of crazy when you think about it. We were using it in early research in computing, and there were really some significant milestones. Things like Alan Turing, a fabulous scientist who created the Turing test, which was basically this test that evaluates whether a machine is intelligent. Does a machine, can it have that artificial intelligence, those capabilities? This was truly the beginning, the advent of machine learning. And after that, it was just breakthrough after breakthrough. As you can imagine, and let me give you a different example, because as we're talking about AI, you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, this is already, I don't want to hear about computers. Let's use an example that we all know. Let's think about Morse code. And then how we had Morse code, the dots and the dashes, and then we had radio, and then we had television, and all of these things led to different types of innovations and technological breakthroughs. Same thing with AI, with research in computing. Started off small, but as soon as they were able to just sort of leapfrog onto each other, they were making leaps and bounds in technological advance. Again, starting from the mid 20th century, Then we have the Alan Turing test. Then we've got machine learning breakthroughs, and we're absolutely able to see that machines are learning. They are learning not only from the data, but they're able to improve their performance. Okay, so that's like if we sat here and we were looking at our data, and let's say I'm watching myself do presentations after presentations, and I say, maybe next time I can use a different type of PowerPoint, or I can speak to a different matter, or maybe I should insert more on the history, right? Improving performance. This is what machine learning was able to do. Then we just, again, huge leap where we got to something called neural network development. And this is where it became hardcore, where we are absolutely able to see that neural networks, computers can actually mimic and pretend to be a human brain. They can pretend to do this human brain process for complex learning tasks. Now, I don't know about you, but if you sit there and think about a computer being able to do what a human brain can do, this is mind-boggling. Do you remember when you were younger and you probably saw in a biology class and they would say things like looking at a parrot and I think it's the African gray that is one of the smartest birds on the earth, right? And it has the vocabulary, it can have the vocabulary of a 3-year-old child, right? Or even like a German Shepherd, a dog that is like so intelligent and able to do, things that perhaps a 3, 4-year-old child can do. These are animals able to mimic human brain processes. But now here we're talking about computers. We're talking about chips and plastic and wires that are able to imitate and go further. So you can see how all of this is leading us to present day innovations in AI technology, because as we talk about the African gray, or we talk about, I don't know, I think dolphins are also hugely, wildly intelligent. It's not as though dolphins are talking to us today, right? Or are dogs or birds, right? It's like they got to a certain level and it stopped. Computers are getting to that level, and then they're going to another level, and then another level. They are improving with performance. So I think it's pretty exciting. So something that is kind of crucial for you to understand is that not all AI is alike. We hear a lot about artificial intelligence, but I just want to explain a little bit. And no, I'm not going to go into detail about all the formula behind, because I don't know them. I don't know the answers. But it's just to show you that, really that it's all this computing and math and wonderful things like this. So artificial intelligence, it can be characterized into 2 different types based on its capabilities, based on what it can do. And if you are able to understand these 2 different types of artificial intelligence, it will help you in identifying the different types of applications, the different types of limitations of artificial intelligence in different contexts. So let me give you a better example. So I think the biggest way to look at this is to think narrow AI, sometimes also called weak AI. I don't think it's weak personally. It's just, I'm going to say it's a little bit narrow in scope. And this is things that are designed for specific tasks, right? So like voice recognition. So I have some examples on the screen. So when you say, hey Siri, or hey Google, or hey Alexa, all of these things, this type of voice recognition, these voice assistants, this is narrow AI that is designed to understand and respond to your voice commands, right? It's designed to understand and respond to perform tasks like setting an alarm, like making phone calls, answering questions, right? So something that's very limited. There are also other examples like Google Translate. I love Google Translate. It uses narrow AI to translate text from one language to another, right? So this is just a very small example. It's not going to do a whole bunch of things. And this is very limited functionality. Earlier, I gave you an example of Netflix, right? Saying how Netflix is going to help identify the different types of shows that I like so that it can keep showing me more content of things that I like. So you'll see that with any sort of recommendation system, whether it is Netflix or Amazon or Spotify, they all use narrow AI to analyze user behavior and preferences. And then after this, they're going to be able to recommend to you movies, products, songs, etc. Okay. Also under the screen there, you have Tesla. Look at that, right? So autonomous vehicles, like some of the Tesla models, so there's some that are a bit more complicated, they can use narrow AI to navigate roads. And so that's how they're going to avoid obstacles. That's how they're going to follow traffic rules. And again, it's like I said, it's very, very simple commands. I'm not going to say weak. Again, I'm going to say very simple. The last image that I have there for you is something that you would see in a factory. And that's because I think robotics are really huge, and we've seen a lot of robotics in the past. They can be programmed to perform specific tasks, things like picking up an item in a warehouse, or even picking things up, moving them down, assembling things on an assembly line. All of this is AI. I know, right? So like I said, we've had it for a while. Those are just a few examples. And if you'd like, please feel free to put something in the chat if you're thinking that there might be something else. Like I said, there will be a little quiz coming up later, so a little interactive poll, but just to get you thinking, we've mentioned recommendation systems like Netflix, Amazon. We've mentioned voice recognition, Tesla, self-driving cars, language translations, robotics, but you keep thinking if there's something else. So that was narrow AI. So in contrast, we also have general AI or strong AI. And here we're talking about an AI that's a bit more powerful. This AI is going to be designed to understand and reason across a range of tasks. And so the whole idea, it's going to resemble humans, right? The human cognitive abilities, the things that we can do. ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot and others are going to try to do the same thing. So I'm going to just take a second because I saw that something popped up in the chat. I'm going to take a second to see if I can find it. Here we go. In the chat, what was their question about? Let's see. I had no clue AI was in all that. Translate really, yeah, yes, and it is evolving that fast. Yes, I completely agree. It is amazing, amazing stuff. The other thing that I was going to ask you is to put in the chat if you've already used ChatGPT. Let me know if you've already used ChatGPT. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Thank you. And for those of you, oh no, okay. Yeah. Oh, for both work and writing stories. Love this. I love this. This is what gets exciting, right? Because it's like having a little assistant to help you out, right? So for those of you who have already used ChatGPT, let me know again in the chat. Were you surprised that it's like talking to a person? Oh, ChatGPT, very basic. Meta AI. Oh, wow. And Google Gemini. Wow. Okay, Marlene, you are like doing all the good stuff. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, it is really, really surprising. And Maureen, I see it. Your husband has it in for his music. This is great. I see that Patrick is using it. I honestly wonder if there isn't another person. I know, right, Sydney? It's crazy. Yes, and Yvonne saying I was surprised when it started asking me questions back as in the conversation. That true, Yvonne. Even for me, when I write something and it says, oh, would you like me to do something else with this? Do you want me to give you an infographic for that? Or would you like an image? I mean, it is like talking to a human. Google Gemini is like talking to a friend and brainstorming ideas. Thank you, Carolyn. It's exactly what I wanted someone to say. It is that brainstorming ideas. It is not as though you are truly getting the answer, because I know that a lot of young people they believe that it is the answer, that they can, write something into ChatGPT or any other AI, and at home ChatGPT has a name. Yes, I love it. I love it. I want to know what the name is. but the people think that like it is the expert, and it's not an expert. It is a computer that is mimicking human behavior, right? So please keep that in mind. It is a talking to a friend who may or may not have like an expert degree in this. And but it's something else. Thank you, Stacy. I also encourage students to use Chat GPT. I encourage my own boys to use them as a tool, right? As we were talking about knives, it can be a tool. I think Evine mentioned that I'm also a lawyer. I tell people there are stories where we've had lawyers in the United States who use Chat GPT to create case documents and studies. And it's just like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Because it just made up cases in front of the court. So it's not good. But yes, it does know that it gives you clarity and it guides you to be more creative. These are all absolutely fantastic uses of Chat GPT, and it makes me super, super happy. And I'm going to ask again, Evine, can you nod your head for me? Are you just seeing my one big screen? Okay, thank you. I've also got the meeting chat over there. Let me move that here. But this is wonderful. Oh, Chat GPT asked to call it Alex. That is really cool. So Chat GPT asked you to call it Alex. Oh my gosh, okay, that's just wild. I have not heard of that. I think it's really cool. I'm going to ask my Chat GPT and my Microsoft Copilot, because of course I like to play with them all. I'm going to ask them if it has a name that it would prefer. It is very true that you can do things like that with the voices, right? Where you can pick the voice that you want it to respond to you in. And so I do like that. It's very interesting. If you'd like to have someone with a British accent or an American accent like mine. Edith says, I like it when AI accepts the fact that you are not the expert and you should get professional advice in some cases. Exactly. That is a brilliant part. And I love it that it will tell you this. Oh, Maureen, you're saying find it marginally scary, but probably because you're limited in your understanding. No, Maureen, you're not limited in your understanding. No, it can be a little bit scary because we don't know where the information's coming from. This is just like before. And Maureen, I'm going to date myself here, but when I was in my law firm in San Francisco, I remember when we started using the internet and all of these things. And it was crazy to think that we could all share documents. And, it was just this different thing. Whereas before, it was typewriters and word processors, and it was different. So I 100% get you. But let me just tell you this, Maureen, you drive your car, don't you? You don't understand how your car works, do you? Me neither. Me neither. So I assure you, I promise you, you can use AI with the same sort of confidence that you use to drive a car when you understand the rules and when you understand the limitations. Yeah, Benjamin, the voices are so realistic. Oh, goodness, that's a great question. Wonder what the implications are in mental health. Okay, see, so this is going to be a conversation for, I think it's session webinar 4, Evine, where we talk about some of the manipulations and things, and maybe it's even 5, where we talk about societal implications. Just because there are so many things out there and we don't know, and actually, you're making me digress, Benjamin, but I will do it for you. It is so true that with our young people today, we are very concerned about them using chatbots as girlfriends, boyfriends, as mental health therapists. I mean, there is a whole bunch of that that's going on. So while we're talking about brainstorming to help us study or create a PowerPoint presentation or get some ideas for a blog post, there are people, especially young people, who are saying, oh, I got bullied at school today. What do you think? What should I do? How should I react? Or perhaps I asked a girl out and she told me no, I'm feeling sad. What do you think? These things are all really interesting, and it's just we're right at the tip of it. But like I said, as I was telling Maureen, and I'm telling all of you, yes, it can be scary, but the fact that we're going to keep talking about it, that is going to reduce the fear factor. And we're going to try to get the answers because technology is here to stay. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, so let me go back to my deck. I have been so busy talking. I love this. This is what happens when I get off and I start talking on, oh, wait, hang on a second. Move this around. And am I still sharing my screen? Yes, I am. I'm sharing my other screen. Okay, perfect. So I've got it. There we go. Perfect. So let's see, what was I saying? So we were talking about these general AI, right? The stronger ones. So we know that it can engage in this sort of natural language conversations, right? We've already said that, answering questions, even generating different creative text formats. And it just seems like, yeah, it understands everything. It has general understanding and it can respond. So what I would also like to just mention is current AI applications. And I'm gonna hold off a little bit on this one, so I'm gonna give you guys a quiz in just a second. But I just want you to realize, and I hope Maureen and some of the others, that this reduces some of the fear when we realize how much AI we're already using. Because most applications today, they are that narrow AI, right? So they're focused on specific things rather than that sort of reasoning and cognitive thinking, et cetera, right? So for example, this is, hey Siri, provide me, play this song, right? Or you can even ask it, who wrote the song. But that the more cognitive, the more general AI is going to be something about, prepare an analysis and compare that music to this music. That is that sort of reasoning. So you can see the difference, right, between narrow and general. Okay, so let me continue just a tiny bit more, just 3 more concepts, and then I'm going to get you to some current applications. So it's just really important that you know these terms, that you know what they are. And by the way, I'm pretty sure Evine is going to put her email in the chat. So that way, if you want this deck with just the simple definitions, you can have them. She'll be happy to share this with you. But let's talk about machine learning, right? So this is really, it's a subset of AI, and this enables the systems to learn from data and to improve over time. So I think it seems kind of complicated because, like I said, it is this subset, and we're going to keep enhancing the performance. So that's the machine learning part, right? The machine is going to actually learn. It is exactly what it sounds like. And when you compare that to deep learning, this is something that's going to be a little bit different, a little bit more complicated, because it's going to actually use neural networks with many different layers to analyze the different factors, right? So this is going to be more complex. So this is going to make it more effective in looking at tasks like image recognition and natural language processing. So just imagine machine learning and then something that's a little bit deeper, right? So it's just, if you want to make it simple, we could just say primary school, middle school, high school, right? This is how we're going on this kind of evolution of what the machine can actually do. And then lastly, we've got this idea of neural networks. And so here we know that they are particularly effective when we're talking about driving the advancements in AI, because this is basically like a brain, just that simple. So here we go. This is the part that I start thinking is going to make you say, wow, I didn't realize we already have it. It's already here. I promise you, AI, it is woven into almost every aspect of your life, from providing solutions to enhancing productivity in various sectors. So I would like to give you some examples. And so that's what I'm going to do, is show you some of the most common applications of AI in our daily lives and in industry in general. We've already heard some great examples about how people are using it at work, with music, being creative, but it's even gone bigger. So virtual assistants, right? So again, I cannot say that enough about virtual assistants, how they are just, I won't say taking over, but it's kind of wild how much we start relying on them. I used to give lectures, and if I would say something like, hey Siri, or hey Alexa, like phones would activate and they would say, what can I do? How can I help? And so it was amazing to see how many people, had these things on and ready to go. I had also already mentioned things like recommendation systems that we've already seen from Netflix and Amazon. If anybody else can think of other recommendation systems, please put it in the chat. It's always interesting to share. It might be something new that we haven't all thought about. But the whole idea here is that this type of technology, it is enhancing user experiences, right? It is personalizing the interaction so much so that you feel like you're talking to a person, especially when you can change the voice, you can change the accent, you can ask for a more efficient solution. I know that myself, I was sitting there listening to Siri music on the stereo, and I kept saying, I was listening to music, and I kept saying, Siri, turn the sound down. Siri, turn the sound down. And my son said, Mom, why don't you say, Siri, decrease sound by 10%? And I did. And Siri did. And Siri was reducing the sound, but it was just different. I mean, the more specific that you can be, the better that it starts personalizing to your individual needs. So lesson for moms, see, Maureen, you're not the only one. You know, we're all learning. It's just every day, all the time. So let's take a look in industry, right? So here's where we start seeing a lot more. So artificial intelligence in healthcare, of course, it is absolutely revolutionizing healthcare. It is just transforming the operations, transforming decision making. You probably don't even realize it, how much AI is there, and it's being used in diagnostics, patient care, helping through data analysis. I know, but let me give you some examples, okay? So talking about radiology, right? So medical imagery, things like that. We have AI-powered systems that can analyze your medical images, can analyze your X-rays, your MRIs, your CT scans. Yeah, and it can detect tumors, fractures, diseases. I know, it's absolutely amazing. There are even algorithms that Google has a Google Health AI, and it has been shown to outperform radiologists in detecting breast cancer from mammograms, which is just kind of blow mind. Same thing with things like in pathology, predictive analysis, for treatment recommendations, right, where we have AI that is able to absolutely analyze genetic data and medical records to sort of tailor a personalized treatment plan for that individual patient. I don't know about you, but I kind of like the idea of having a human doctor in there as well to have that expertise. Although I love the idea that AI can parse through a lot of data, a lot of information, and recommend some of the best therapies. But still, I like to have a human in there. Drug discovery. See, I told you there is a lot. We have virtual health assistants for chatbots, for patient interactions. I don't know how many of you have tried to speak with a medical platform and you've gotten a chatbot that can sit there and help you do things like manage your appointments, even help you do some of the over-counter medications that you might need. Let's see what else. AI healthcare. We also have robotics, right, in surgery. So we have things where we've seen AI robotics helping surgeons by doing things there's such absolute precision, which reduces the risk of human error. Anyway, again, the list that goes on and on, but I think basically you can see that AI is there. And just as we use AI in our work to help us become more productive, to become more efficient, there is also AI in the hospitals doing the same thing, helping with some of those administrative tasks, some of those repetitive tasks like scheduling and billing and claims processing. And all of this will allow the medical health professionals to focus more on patients. That's the idea. So I also wanted to mention finance, AI and finance. I won't go through automobiles, but you can imagine that I've already mentioned some of the robotics, but just some things where, because we're talking about money, I feel like I'm talking about the two most important things, our health and our money, but bear with me. It's just that AI is everywhere, and I want you again to understand this. So when we're talking about AI in finance, we know that AI systems are already out there helping us with fraud detection, real-time fraud detection. So we have AI systems that can analyze transactions to see if there's any sort of unusual activities or suspicious credit card activities, do risk analysis, I'm not a trader, but there are people who use AI to help them do, predictive models and to trade. There's also, again, that sort of help with productivity, with virtual assistants, with 24 hour, 7 days a week, chatbot support. There are even robotic advisors, if you will, right? I don't know how much I'm going to trust them, but they do exist. I will give you the names. One is called Betterment, and another one is called Wealthfront, and they do provide personalized investment advice based on a user's financial goals, risk tolerance, and time horizon. Not yet for me. I'm not that brave, but I will get there. See, Maureen, you're not alone. All of this again to tell you there's more AI everywhere, asset management, investment strategy, it's there. And again, as I mentioned, in the automobile industry, we already know that they're developing autonomous vehicles, showcasing advanced technology, safety features, being able to, park a car. You've seen all these things yourself. I know I was recently rented a car and I was just so excited to see the different cameras in the front and the back. And, you don't have to do anything. You can just press a button and park, even though I still like to park, but it was very amazing and a wonderful experience. But as AI continues to evolve, yes, it produces some exciting opportunities, but it also produces challenges, right? And I know that we need to kind of understand some of these trends, the future trends, and to address some of these ethical considerations, because this is the crucial part. This is where it becomes important about how it's shaping the impact of AI in society. Personally, I feel that this is one of the ways that we kind of got things wrong with internet, is that we just kind of, as they said, make things, what did it say? Make it fast, break things, make it fast. Oh, I can't even remember what Facebook used to say. But their whole thing was go fast and we can fix it later. We can't do that with AI. We really need to address the ethical considerations and the moral implications of some of the things that we're doing. We need to have policies in place. You need to just have a lot of critical thinking. And underneath that is just this understanding of where we are, which is what we're all doing here. So just to mention really quickly some, I'm just checking the time, some emerging trends and technologies. So natural language processing, this is already happening, right? Where we've got advancements in NLP is what it's called, and it just enables the machines to understand and just kind of interact. And it just, it sounds just like you would see on television with a robot and everybody just talking to you. AI-powered automation, right? So we see that it's transforming industries and it is reducing human error. I am always of the opinion, again, trying to be optimistic, that we're going to reduce human error, but we are also going to continue to increase jobs that we need humans to do. One other thought too is having AI in Internet of Things. So this whole idea of Internet of Things, this is the idea that we are enhancing intelligence. We're, again, all this data-driven decisions. This is just the basics of it. These are the future trends. And there are a lot of ethical considerations. There are a lot of things that we need to be thinking about. So for example, as you can see, I am an African American. I have a Russian last name. I have lived in France for a very long time. Can you imagine if AI is training on my data set? What kind of biases might it show up? Might show up because of Russia, France, being Black, being a woman, being older. We have to understand what the data is who is training the data, who is providing this sort of information. Fun fact, kind of scary fact, many years ago, when they were first doing Google, Google was doing, not when they were first doing Google, sorry, when Google was training a lot of its models, you could look up image and you could write gorilla, and an image of an African American male showed up. And that is because the Silicon Valley engineers that were putting in the training data to train the computers to understand what is the difference, what does a gorilla look like? Well, they weren't very diverse. And so some of these biases came in and it was just, okay, There are a lot of errors like that with AI for people, for women. And it is really, really important that we get in there and we understand that so we can mitigate these types of biases, because really it is not the computer, it is not the technology, it is the data, it is the training data, it is the person who's putting in that data. And let's not forget that once the data is there, that AI starts building off of it itself. It can start hallucinating, making up things. And so all of these issues are things that we as humans need to understand so we can come in and kind of control things. With the rise of AI, we have got privacy issues that are just becoming so much more important, and safeguarding our own personal data. How many times do you just automatically say, yes, accept the cookies, yes, you can have my data because you need to use that website? We really need to understand where our personal data is going, and we need to trust the people who are collecting that data to understand how are they using it. Job displacement, I think I kind of just mentioned that, where people are so concerned, wondering, will AI automation, will this, take my job? Yeah, it can in some instances, but as someone once said, that if AI can do exactly what you're doing, then you need to, get more creative. You can do more things because we are humans. So I don't want to simplify it, but I really think that there's place for us, and we just have to find it, and we have to brainstorm and talk with each other. Lastly, some guiding principles. There are lots of people who are working on these types of things, principles and policies and ethical guidelines for AI development. I know, especially for children, I've seen wonderful things from UNICEF and other places to ensure that technology serves humanity, serves children, serves mankind, womankind, and promotes innovation responsibly. That's the tough part. Okay, so while you're still with me, here we go. I would love to see in the chat, based on everything that I've told you now, you're going to let me know, is this AI or is it not AI, right? So here we go. Does smart email reply? So if you have a smart email reply that just comes up, you send an email and you reply to an email and it starts saying, oh, thank you, did it, and gives you a few prompts. Is that using AI? And I've got to find my, wait, hang on, I got to find my chat back again. There we go. I'm seeing it. Lots of things in the chat. Oops. And yes, Sydney's like, no, it is. Yeah, it's their pre-written smart email replies using AI, Sydney, using AI to analyze the content of emails and suggest appropriate responses. So this technology, it enhances user efficiency by allowing quick replies based on context, okay? So it's a pretty valuable tool. It's just a tool. So yes, it does use AI. What about, this is for you, Sydney, what about a USB flash drive? Does this use AI technology? What do you guys think? Yes, no? Throw it in the chat. No, no, no. No. And yeah, the answer is no, it does not. I know, it's crazy, right? So a USB flash drive, it is truly just a simple storage device. It doesn't use AI, and its primary role is just to store and transfer data. And it doesn't have really any intelligent or adaptive features. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. You have Instagram, and you're going to use some face filters, to change, make a clown face or an angel. What do you think? Is it using AI? Yes or no? Yep. Oh, no, I'm using nose. Yes, it does. Believe it or not, it does use AI. I know, it's crazy. Instagram uses AI and computer vision, right? So it sees you. It actually sees you to identify and track your facial features in real time. So if you don't want like Instagram to have like your face and to be able to use it afterwards, then maybe you shouldn't be playing around with those face filters, right? Although if you want to, then that's fine. Just know that you're going to be, being super creative, doing your selfies and all that kind of fun stuff. Okay, another one. Grocery store barcode. Does a grocery store barcode scanner, does that use AI? Right, we're trying to get through quickly. We're scanning. Do you think it uses artificial intelligence? And got a bunch of mix up yes and no's. And the answer is that it does not use artificial intelligence. I know it seemed like it does because it seems like it's awfully intelligent, like it knows the price and all of this, but no, these are just designed to read product codes quickly and efficiently. That's it, nothing more. Okay, see, you guys are getting there. You're seeing it, you're understanding. What about Duolingo, the app that we use to, kind of understand, learn a new language? Does it use AI? What do you think? Does it use AI? And yes or no? I've got a bunch of no's. No, 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 no. And yes, it does. Thank you, Noella. Thank you, Marilyn. Yep, it does. DC as well. Paula, Katie. Yeah, it does. And Sydney as well. It uses AI to personalize the language learning experience for you. So by using this sort of analyzing user performance, it adapts the content and exercises. Okay, couple more, just because you guys are getting really good. Does facial recognition to unlock your phone? Does this use artificial intelligence? Yes or no? I'm seeing, yes, yes, not sure. I like that, Stacy. I agree with you. It's kind of a tricky one. It's like, does it? Actually, it does. Facial recognition technology used to unlock your phone, it relies on AI algorithms to analyze and compare your facial features. So this technology, it could also enhance security, and it provides a convenient method, access method for some users. Okay, got another code, got another scanner. Here you go. Does a QR code scanner use AI? You know, QR codes, right? So this is different than the grocery store, but what do you think? Yes or no? Could this be a trick question? Could this be a trick question? This is a trick question. Yeah, it does not involve artificial intelligence. I know. I'm sorry. I had to do it. Let's go. This one you've heard me say a bunch of times, so you should all get this one correct. Do Netflix recommendations use AI? Talking about analyzing user preferences, viewing histories, giving personal suggestions. What do you think? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Thank you. Yes, everyone. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What about a basic calculator? We're using AI now with their calculators? No. Nailed it, Maureen. Nailed it, Stacy. Yeah, there is really no AI there. Functions are pretty straightforward, and it's just manual calculations. Okay, here's another one that I've mentioned a lot, so I know that you know the answer. AI? Yes or no? Thank you, Benjamin, Patrick, Marilyn. Yes, you know it. You know it. Absolutely fabulous. Okay, Google Maps, traffic updates. We're trying to figure out where we're going. It's predicting traffic patterns. It's providing real-time updates to users. The technology can really help out our planning, our route planning, yes or no? Absolutely, you got it. Yes, it does. And autocorrect on your phone? You see where I'm going here, people. You are using AI all the time. Yes, yes, you are. Yep. This is just like the email replies. Yeah, exactly, Sydney, exactly. And let's see. What about typing on a mechanical keyboard? I think you know the answer to that one. No, that does not use AI. I won't even bother you with that one. The next one is, here we go, Amazon product suggestions. Ooh. So we're sitting there on Amazon and they're showing us some new things. Yes or no? Absolutely, yeah. So it's analyzing user behavior. Okay, so you guys are getting it. You see the different types of uses, and I'm not asking you if it's narrow or general. I'm not going to do that, but still, you're catching it. Last one, online captcha test, you know, the ones that they're trying to make sure that you're a real person. So you're trying to decide if you are not an automated tool, AI, or no AI. Not sure, Paula. Yeah, it's a tricky one, and it doesn't have AI in there. It's just, you know, focusing on website security. Oh, you guys were awesome. I am going to stop playing around with you. I'm going to show you one more slide, and I'm going to let you ask a few questions in the few minutes that are left. But really, just to know that yes, it is continuously evolving. It's influencing, you know, just everything. We have profound implications for our society. This is exciting stuff. Um, and we really have to get this responsible use part. This is the reason why I'm here, trying to help you out, just to, you know, demystify this, and so we can just talk about it, because we really can harness the potential, and we can do this responsibly and ethically. I 100% believe this, and I think that it's having discussions like this where we're all together, that we're navigating the challenges, that we can absolutely do it. Now, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to go back to looking at everybody here. There we go. I can see everybody. See, Maureen, it wasn't so bad. It wasn't so scary. Yay! And Sydney, no AI could never, ever replace you. I don't know what you do, what your job is, but I promise you, you're a human, you're thinking, you're able to be creative. And the fact that you're asking that question, a lot of people are. Yeah. You work in customer service. Okay, you're really funny, Sydney. Okay, so what we're going to do, you're going to work in customer service, but you're still doing personalized things, and that humans have their spot. Marilyn says it is replacing people in the architectural industry. Really, Marilyn, that's really exciting and horrific at the same time. I'm just trying to understand, how can it replace architects? I'm just thinking about art and the creative side. If you just put that in the chat for us, that is truly amazing. Again, learn something new. I told you, Maureen, I didn't know it all, and so I had no clue that AI could actually replace people in the architectural industry. What do I think about using AI as a therapist? Yes. Oh, yeah, please. Wait, hang on just one second. Marilyn, please unmute to explain. Yes, please. Would love that.
Hi, Dr. Elizabeth. Thank you for
Hi.
the wonderful webinar. I've had very mixed feelings about AI. One being, I see the positives of it as it used as a tool, as you explained, and also it depends on the intention of how people use it. But in my profession, the struggle that we are having at the moment is that there's AI programs that's now drawing up plans and sketches and designs. So it's replacing the work that we are actually doing that makes us architects or designers. So I had an interesting conversation with an architect, and he told me that the work that a draftsman would do that normally draws up a plan, he doesn't need to employ somebody anymore to do that, because he has AI technology that he pays extra for instead of the normal software that does that for him. And so he doesn't need to employ somebody. So it leaves us in a position of unemployment because it's hard to get a job.
Right.
So it's like a lot of architects are like very nervous because it's sort of replacing what we are normally employed to do. And it's like, while other architects says, you know, you can use it as a tool to create your design ideas. And then I end up in a conversation with another architect, and I was like, but doesn't our design ideas and creativity comes from the God element inside of us, which is our intuition and our higher consciousness?
Yes.
And doesn't that make us lazy, and we are creating something that's like not coming from within us? He was like, well, AI is just giving you outcomes and sort of scenarios. So when you're creating something and you're creating a design, you can actually like know the outcome of the design, whether it will work or not work, or create like an element of different kinds of designs. So it's another form of creativity. And yes, it can replace the architect, but if architects instead use it as a tool, then it could be more of an asset than a something not good for the industry.
Completely agree. And I hear you, Marilyn. And one of the things that just touched me as you were speaking was this idea of the humanity and using our own creation and our creative abilities and talents to do something. And I agree that a computer can't replace that. An algorithm cannot replace that. But what I'm also just wondering, and this is a horrible parallel, but if you think back to the 30s and 40s when we would have secretaries in typing pools and they were all typing. And I remember, giving my age, and I remember carbon, people typing on a piece of paper over a carbon copy. And then, we just had lots of typists. And now we no longer have typists. And so those skills then became something else. So I'm wondering two things. One, if there isn't something, a way for draftspeople to upskill and learn additional creative human elements. And secondly, I'm wondering, this goes to that base of guidelines, right? Where we need to have guidance that says how we're going to use AI, because we don't want AI to replace people. And I agree with Maureen that it is really worrying, as architects have had to study for so long. But again, we could say the same thing for surgeons, right? Because we've got robotic arms doing surgery. I've seen, as a lawyer, I've seen legal software that is able to analyze cases far faster than I ever could, but it frees me up to what I probably other things that I could do. Um, so I do wonder, Marilyn, as someone wrote in the chat saying that what your site is so interesting, and just wondering if there's any way for you to use it to make your job more enjoyable, or again, like I said, to upskill. And Benjamin says, surely work will just evolve. AI cannot replace us entirely. I agree. That's not a question mark for me, Benjamin. It is a true statement. It can't replace us entirely. And if you notice, just think of the things that we see in our day-to-day lives. So for example, going into a supermarket, and before you would have your checkout cashiers, people you would talk with and interact with, and now you go and you check out by yourself, right? You can just scan it by yourself. And how there are even stores that you just walk in and walk out. So I mean, things are evolving, and I think that we're going to continue to evolve with it. And I don't have a crystal ball. So I don't have a crystal ball. But I do like what Erdem says, that AI is there to amplify your output rather than take over it. And I think that is a wonderful mic drop conclusion that we will use for our webinar today. Thank you so much, Erdem. Thank you for everyone for coming and hanging out with us for this past hour. Again, I think I'm going to pass over to Yvine, who's going to remind you of some of the next ones. Yes, marine self-scanning is a pain in the neck. I agree. I'm going to pass over to Yvine now. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you sticking in here with me.
Thank you, everyone who attended. I hope to see you all again in the next sessions. You see that it can be very interesting. The conversation is really interesting for everyone. We are also learning from you, from your comments, and we really hope to see you all. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. So thank you and see you next time. Bye bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Good
Thank you so
night.
much. Thank you.